What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year's Eve. It's going to be New Year's in a couple hours. Of course, I'm not even going to really recap the game. What was there to recap? That was the worst loss of the season. And the Falcons are officially out of the postseason, which they should have been weeks ago. You lose to the Chicago Bears 37-17. You lost by 20. There was never a chance to win the game to begin with, to be honest with you. That's terrible. They look bad from start to finish. Heineke looked horrible. Ritter came in to finish off his interception streak. That, of course, he had to come in and do what he had to do best. But this game never looked like they had a shot regardless of this game. So let's go ahead, let's be brutally honest about this thing. What are we waiting on? And notice every time Bleacher Report or ESPN comes out and say it's highly unlikely, barring a collapse, that the Falcons fire Arthur Smith or get rid of Terry Fontenot, who I don't think he should be gone, but he could be casualty in this situation as well too. And unfortunately, you can't keep defending this. Arthur Blank can't defend this as an owner. You can't defend this as a head coach. It's something got to be done. To me, I don't think they're going to fire him tomorrow, but I think you're going to be gone next week. I don't see there's no way that you bring Arthur Smith back as your head coach in 2024, this 2024 season. There's still one game left in New Orleans. But again, there's no way you bring this guy back to be your head coach. It's no way possible. You've lost to four of arguably the worst teams in the league. You lost to Chicago today. You lost to Carolina 2 weeks ago. Arizona handed you the business in Kyler Murray's first game back. Tennessee's a top 5 pick team. That was the Will Levis breakout game. The Falcons lost to the Commanders. They've lost to several last place ball clubs. And you think that this is going to be solved by bringing him back to get a quarterback? No, that's not going to solve anything. Especially when you've had 3 years to get it right. I've only said this every week on this show, on this platform, on my social media. He's had 3 seasons. It's time to stop playing around because you spent all this money in the offseason. Your defense, who had been really good for weeks, was awful today. This was their worst game of the season. They look like they reverted back to last year's defense. But that offense never got in this game. It was bad. It was bad from start to finish. And I promise you, you're going to lose a lot of fans coming in that building next season if you do not defend this. And the only way you do this is fire Arthur Smith. You cannot sit here and say that you can give this man another season to get this thing right. It's been 3 years. This division is wide open. Nobody was rooting for the Saints to win today. The Saints gifted you a victory today to where if you handle your business against the lowly Bears, you go to New Orleans with a shot to win the division because all 3 of you have been 8-9. The Falcons screwed that up. My bad, 8-8. They screwed that up. So how much longer can you defend this? And it's not like we're looking bad and losing all close games. That offense looks anemic and pathetic 90% of the time if you see them on the field. So once again, as I said in my preseason stream, again, you cannot defend going under 500. This team is guaranteed a losing record. You lost 9 games. A win next week does nothing but gives us trash talking rights with Saints fans. I don't even care about that game next week. I'm ready to get it over with because the Falcons need to do what was the logical thing to do, and that's get rid of this head coach. You got to move on from him, or it's going to cost you fans checking out on this ball club. Because when you look at the team, you have a young, sensational running back in Bijan Robinson who don't know how to get used by his head coach. Drake London and Kyle Pitts don't get a chance to cut loose because, one, you don't have a quarterback that can get the ball to him. 2, you have a coach that don't know how to call 90% of the plays. I knew last week was a fluke. That last week was, the news reports was he's about to get fired. So they called their best game of the season against a playoff caliber team in the Colts. But then you go out to Chicago, and please miss me with the weather excuse. Chicago scored 37 points. Miss me with the weather excuse. That was a pathetic loss. That's another pathetic loss by the Falcon organization. And how many times can you keep defending this? And by the way, anybody watching for the Falcon ticket office, stop hitting my phone up about playoff tickets. Clinch a postseason appearance before you start charging people money on playoff tickets. You guys can't even finish a game against 5 of the worst teams in the league. And you think somebody should be putting money down for the playoffs? Come on, man. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. But this is what happens when you ride with this head coach. You've rolled with one of the worst quarterbacks in team history. It's time to stop playing around because fans are checked out on this game. I'll be honest with you guys. I watched and I didn't watch at the same time. The game was on, but I have Sunday ticket for a reason. I was watching every other game but them. I'm going to be honest. It was on TV, so I know pretty much what happened, but I don't need to recap all that. We know what happened today. They looked anemic and pathetic. But let me hit some of these comments real quick. Rico Jones said they stink. Yes, they do. They stink. They absolutely stink. As well, but what's going on, man? He said, Lord, brother, stay blessed. Listen, I'm not even mad at them because I expected. I told you earlier in the week I thought we were going to lose the game, and they did exactly what I thought. Finley said, rise up, man. Not in this decade. John P. What's going on? He said, it's time for the coach and the staff to go and the QB. No excuse to lose to Chicago. They gave up. They've lost to 4. I seen a post on social media. They have lost to 4 of the 5 worst teams in the league that are going to be picking. They're going to be ahead of most teams that they've lost to. Carolina clinched the number 1 pick that's going to go to the Bears. Imagine how Bears fans feel right now. You whooped up on the Falcons, and you whooped up on the Atlanta Falcons, and you clinched the number 1 pick. You could very well go get you an elite player on both sides of the ball and stick with Justin Fields because the Bears have gotten better week after week after week. They're now 7-9, which is a positive for that team at this point. AJ Evans, what's going on, man? It's been a minute since I seen you here. Third straight 7-10 season or barely missing the playoffs after a BS Saints win, peak Falcons. Absolutely. And then they won last week and looked like a competent football team to go out here and lose to Chicago. It's funny. He also said that Smith was gone, and that most likely means the best defensive staff in 20 years is gone. It sucks. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing because prior to today, the defense has been really good all season long. They just had a bad day today against Justin Fields and company. And we may lose Ryan Nielsen in the process because you're going to have to fire Arthur Smith. You cannot come back with Arthur Smith as your head coach. It's not going to work. Tevin, what's going on? He said, fire Arthur. Yes, fire Arthur Smith. Please fire him. He also said, get me a quarterback. Yes, that's another thing. Fixing Jesus. Darrell said, what's up, bro? He said, with all disrespect, intended Arthur Smith can go to the deepest and darkest. You are absolutely correct. That's exactly how I feel. Tevin said, shout out to Fields. He put on the show. Yeah, he put on the show. He looks like he got a solid wide receiver in a DJ Moore. DJ Moore cooked AJ Terrell the whole game, by the way. AJ had a bad day in the office. And he had a great day. You can't take nothing away from what the Bears did. They played a good game. The Bears earned that ball game. So it's a bad loss for the Falcons. And you caught the break that you needed. The Falcons needed the Saints to win to have a shot at next week being for the division title. You got what you wanted. You got it. You know the bad part about the Saints winning that game today? It does nothing for Tampa. If Tampa wins next week, they still win the division. And depending on the opponent they're playing, which is Carolina, they're gonna win next week. So it was for nothing. Jordan, what's going on, bro? He said, lead Arthur Smith in Chicago. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Jared said, should have pulled the trigger on Fields when they were ready to let him go for cheap. Yeah, but I mean, that's only head coach. Arthur Smith he said he was going to ride with Desmond Ridder. He didn't even give a chance of a competition. And then we all wanted Taylor Heineke, and Heineke's no better than Desmond Ridder at this point. So I mean, you really got your hands full one way or another. Neither of them are beneficial to each other on this team. You kind of stalled your progress. You were trying to go after Deshaun Watson the year before last. So, I mean, you have a rough situation regardless. But the beauty of it is the Falcons are in a good position financially to where you can go get you a veteran quarterback. The thing is, I don't think Arthur Smith needs to be the guy calling the shots when you do make that move. It's clear the Falcons are going to get a quarterback this offseason. The problem is going to be this. Do you really want this man to be the head coach of your ball club next season with a better quarterback? Because half of Desmond Ritter's problem is himself, but half of it is the man ain't been developed, and you don't have a head coach that can develop quarterbacks. Think about this. Matt was on the back end of his time, his last season before he got traded off. Mariota was pitiful. Ritter's worse than Mariota. And what's the buddy name? Heineke is a backup for a reason. So, again, you've done nothing to boost the position that you need straight the most. That's the number one thing. It's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, it's on Arthur Blank because it's three. Let's go ahead and I'm going to get real honest with y'all as a fan and as a person that watch football. The Atlanta Falcons have not had a winning record in 6 years. Make it 7 because the ball drops at midnight. So make it 7. You cannot defend 6 consecutive seasons of having a losing record. This man is getting the grace that I don't understand because we haven't had a head coach be in a predicament where you can get the grace of, oh, we have 3 straight losing seasons and I'm still the coach. He needs to go. If you care about winning, which at times I question with Arthur Blank, I'm not going to lie to you guys. And this is me talking from being a long-time season ticket holder, long-time Falcon supporter. I question, do he really care at times? Because sometimes you do stuff a year too soon. I mean, too late. That's the issue. Ty, what's going on, bro? He said the Eagles let me down, so it's all good. KD, what's going on, bro? He said both Arthurs need to go at this point. Sorry. Yes, I agree. Arthur Blank was great for us at the time that he was here. Let's just be honest. But I feel like and this may be a controversial statement for me to say. I feel that the minute that the Atlanta United came into the fold, he did not care about the Falcon organization the same way. It's not been the same since. And truth be told, this team has suffered the last couple of years. And I hate the notion from the national media that the Atlanta Falcons don't have a good fan base. They do. You get sick of seeing the stuff that they put out on the field week in and week out, year in and year out. You expect to keep season ticket holders like that? You can't. I promise you, if he comes back with Arthur Smith as the head coach next season, he's going to lose some season ticket holders. Plain and simple. Some folks are going to check out before they even get started. So it's an embarrassment to be in this position. And Gary's going on, bro, and said they're not going to fire Smith. They're going to grab an old washed-up QB and another wide receiver. I could see that happening too. I could easily see that happening too. Because it's like they're trying to give him the grace of the team was competitive. They've been in the playoff hunt. I don't care about being in a playoff hunt when you're in the worst division in National Football League. The Bucs started getting hot, and they look awful today at home. They look awful today at home against New Orleans, who has been up and down as well. One of those two going to win the division. Carolina's in a very bad spot. You can't win this division. It comes to a point now where what more can you say? Like, how can you defend it at this point? It's embarrassing. Gary says called, but yeah, I definitely, believe me, I'm highly aware of that. I'm highly aware of that at this point. Jared said, bro, you think they're going to get a quarterback in the first round? I don't know. Logically, I got to find out where the Falcons are currently sitting in the playoff. My bad, not playoff, draft order. Because I know with the Bears winning, they're going to jump us and probably get out the top 10. But no, let me see if they gave an update. Okay, the Falcons right now, according to Tankathon, is 9th in the draft order. They're number 9 right now at the moment. So, I mean, you would be in a position to potentially trade up for a quarterback because the teams that are in front of you, like you still got the Jets got Aaron Rodgers still. They're going to come back with him next year. Herbert's still in L.A. The Titans are going to rock out with Levis. The only teams that are really up there right now that's looking for a quarterback is the Commanders and Patriots. So you may have the third best quarterback on the board, faulty. So it depends on the situation of this team at that point. So that's where I'm going to go with that. Gary said, Rich, take care of Rich. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Byron said that the UGA and the Braves are the only sports teams in Atlanta. It feels like it at times. Also said Rich McKay is pulling strings. Yeah. There's another issue on team that nobody likes to talk about, but he's a part of the issue. And he said Braves not firing Smith. I can see it both ways. I can see him firing Arthur Smith, and then I can see him saying, "Oh, well, let's try to give him one more season to get it right." I can see either or. I could. I'm so used to this guy as the owner. He's the nice Jerry Jones, and that irritates me. At least Jerry Jones put winning ball clubs on the field. He said, "Bear down, man. Good game to you. Good game to your boys. Y'all trending up in the right direction." He said, Tevin said they're gonna go get Kirk in free agency or Russ instead of drafting the QB or going for Fields. I can see that too. I can see it. Let's see. Anthony is checking what's going on, bro. It says, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jesse Bates has been everything we need him to be. Bayou, what's going on, bro? Is Jalen blow the whole day? Yes. I don't even think we need a whole blow up. I think you have to change certain things at the top. I think the roster with better QB and coaching in place makes the playoffs. But those two things are out of whack. So you're going to lose games that you should win. Like the Bears were favored by 3. They tripled that today. That's the crazy thing about it. They tripled that. What was it? They were favored by 3.5. They won by 20. Embarrassing. He also said we need to trade Kyle. Ooh. I'm going to say this. This is going to be a tricky fifth season to see what they do with Kyle Pitts. Because to be honest with you, I don't know if the Falcons are going to pick his option up. I don't know. And it sucks because I still don't know if his potential has been tapped simply because we have a head coach and an offensive scheme that don't work. So it's a bad situation for the Falcons. Gary King said we always draft in the middle of the draft and they won't dance. Exactly. That's the irritating thing about it. You've won 7 games. You're in the top 10 again drafting. You drafted 8 in 23 and 22. You drafted 4 and 21. You now are back in the top 10 in the draft. I mean, at what point do you say the coach is a issue? We got to change this up if we plan on having a better situation next year. Byron Lancaster said Mac Jones my Yeah, I know that for sure. But and another thing I'm looking at with this Falcon organization, next season you went 7-9 with this schedule. We had one of the easiest schedules in the NFL and couldn't have a winning record. That alone should get you fired because next season the schedule is going to be tougher. You're going to see Philly, Dallas. You're going to see maybe a Seattle or San Francisco. You have to see San Francisco. You're going to see all those different teams. Like you're going to see just Chargers. Kansas City comes in here next year. We play the whole NFC East. Like schedule's going to be tough next season. You're going to play a much tougher schedule. You play the third place team in the North, which I think right now would be the Steelers, I believe. So, again, you got to tighten up this offseason or it's going to be a long 2024. But the first thing you got to do is get rid of Arthur Smith and start this thing fresh. That's what you have to do. But let me hit these stats real quick from the game. I'm going to hit this real quick because they don't deserve anything. Tevin said, honestly, I told you the preseason, I felt the vibe. Ritter played 0 snaps preseason. They just that was the biggest issue that we've had for a while. They've just gave him the job like, yay, you just guys, it's like, what? What are you doing? But it's irritating. It's irritating to watch that ball club. They didn't make me mad today, though. But let me pull these stats up real quick and show what the stat line was for the game. What was it really to talk about from this game? Show these stats, get up out of here. But today's final stats, Taylor Heinicke was 10 of 29 for 163, had a touchdown and 3 interceptions. They were all god-awful, by the way. Desmond Ridder got in the game. He went 3 of 4, and guess what he did? He threw his interception too. He said, guess what? He said, man, Heinicke's not going to be the only one throwing picks. I want to throw a pick too. Justin Fields was 20 of 32 for 268. He had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. He had a good day at the office. Bijan was 15 of 75. Taylor Heinicke ran for 46 yards. Algier had 13. Khalil Herbert had an outstanding day against the Falcons. 18 of for $124 today for Chicago. Justin Fields had 45 yards rushing. Roscoe Johnson had 21. DJ Moore had a field day, had 9 for 159. As you see, Tyler Algier led the team in receiving on that 75-yard screen that went for a touchdown. Drake London, 4 for 56. Van Jefferson, look at Kyle Pitts' numbers. 1 for 5 yards, and had 5 targets. Just a pathetic game. Bijan had a fumble. He didn't lose it. Desmond recovered it. So did Justin Fields. Braxton Jones recovered his. Jesse Bates led the team in tackles. Caden Ellis got a sack, Buddy Pre and David Ayumata got a half sack. This was the type of day we had. Like, it wasn't really much to talk about with this. The rookie Tyree Stevenson had 2 picks. TJ Edwards had an interception. Kyler Gordon had a pick. But Young Oku missed 2 field goals. And that's another situation that is starting to become a problem too. He's missing a lot of field goals as of late. It's just was a bad day at the office for the Falcons from start to finish. Like, it's nothing that was impressive. But that's really all I have to say about the Falcons. I mean, we might as well start getting ready for the draft. We got one more game, thank God. I cannot wait to see the end of this team right here. But I'm going to be intrigued to see what the Falcons coaching staff, I'm going to be intrigued what the front office do today, what they're going to say today. I'm going to be intrigued. I'm going to be intrigued to see how this thing plays out. But they end the game 37-17 loss. The playoffs is over. They better not even come close to saying anything mathematically for the Falcons. This is over. It is over. Please stop saying we have a chance at anything. But until next game, this has been your special edition of All In with Nate, Falcon edition. I hope everyone enjoyed your New Year's. Please be safe out there, and I will be back on here sometime next week in the last game of the season, thank God, against the Saints. Don't really care what happens in that ball game. But until next time, this has been All In with Nate. Thank y'all for tuning in. Happy New Year.